welcome to another episode of DC Films Hub. This is your boy Ben, and with me on episode 15 today we have a special guest. Kidding. I'm just waiting for this week's name. What are you naming yourself this week?
So this week, I'm actually going to be going by Aaron RPK.
RPK. Okay. Do
I
explain.
know, it's silly. I have no idea what that means. However,
No, because
I should have.
The previous one weren't silly at all. So,
I know, right? They were all serious.
Yeah.
No, I think for this one, Aaron RPK, just because I was given some information that it would be considered a scoop, an exclusive.
Shit.
Like if I'm a scooper.
Are you stepping into my territory, man?
I know I am. I felt kind of bad too when I found out. I was like, "Oh, this sounds confirmed too." So
Nah, it's okay, man. There's a lot to go around.
Well, exactly, and that's the whole thing. That's why you could just call me Aaron RPK.
Aaron,
No
RPK.
relation to anybody else. Yeah, no relation to anybody else. Are you ready?
My heart is ready.
I hope, man. I hope. So, I'm going to give you the bullet points of what I was told and what I found out.
Okay.
And then I'll listen to your opinions and let, bounce off real quick. So.
Sure.
The Batman. Ben Affleck. Geoff Johns. Back in early, and I say early, but maybe mid 2015 in July, Affleck and Johns were both announced as writers for the standalone Batman film. Now, this is before it was announced that Affleck would actually direct it.
Okay.
So that we already knew. Kind of knew that. All right, fine. Mm-hmm. Later in 2015, up until literally about the release of BVS, Affleck and Johns submitted their story outline to Warner Brothers, and they freaking loved it. They were like, yes, that's awesome. And Affleck started to get his negotiations to direct. So obviously that was the time that it was brought out that he's possibly going to direct it, but he most likely is going to direct it.
Right.
But then May of 2016, Johns is named co-head of DC Films. You can look at that however you like, okay?
Right.
But obviously, whatever transpired after that is kind of a mystery. But it turns out in August of 2016, Affleck and Johns hit kind of a roadblock on their script. They were not seeing eye to eye. Okay. Now, you can't really look... I mean, none of that is out there. So that's kind of part of the stuff that I've learned is in August of 2016, they weren't seeing the same thing. Ironically enough, this is the same time that Affleck posted that tease or test footage of Deathstroke.
Okay.
Now, I'm writing a piece about this, which shall be released after this episode debuts.
Okay.
But listen to my thoughts. Yeah, listen to my thoughts on what that signifies. Wow, I totally couldn't say that. Tell me if this signifies.
Signifies.
Signifies is what I'm trying to say. God damn. Okay. Anyways. So, kind of with what Snyder was doing when, the lead up to Comic-Con, I mean, he was showing a lot of stuff based on his Snyder Cut, right?
Right.
Well, Deathstroke, if he was going to be in Justice League, which he was, but he was also going to have a lot more bigger role. If that test footage was because he was in Justice League, don't you think Snyder would have released something like that?
Oh, yes.
Now,
absolutely.
Right, he would have. Why wouldn't he? Right? But why did Ben Affleck release that? Now, he did that, and now I learned that him and Johns hit a roadblock on their script. My only thought is that they were in disagreement over maybe who should be the main villain in the film.
So
now, this is speculation on my part.
Right.
But that's what I can think. And so what I think he did was he goes, all right, you really think that he's not a big player or a major player for a Batman film? Watch this. And so he posts that video of Deathstroke, and everybody loses their minds.
Everybody lost it.
Yeah, everybody was so amped up to see it, right? But
yeah,
you know, let's play devil's advocate, right? Now let's look at it from John's point of view. He is the head of DC Films, or co-head, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, whatever he says kind of goes. So if he was trying to tell Affleck, "Hey, look, I don't think Deathstroke's going to be should be a primary villain," because maybe they worked him in as a secondary villain or something like that. But let's just say that he was thinking, "No, I don't think that's going to work." He's head of DC Films, so he could basically veto that decision.
Right.
So maybe Affleck posts that up to try to go, "Here, I'm going to prove a point to you." And so so Johns kind of gets a little bitter feeling towards it. I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, continue to be the devil's advocate. That's very unprofessional. If that's the case.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? But at the same time, because it's weird. It's like, why did he even post that up? Like, there was no, literally, it was out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing leading up to it. We had no idea that Deathstroke was going to be in any kind of film.
No,
let alone Justice League.
That was a complete shock to
everyone.
Nobody was expecting that.
And so now that I found out that they actually had hit a roadblock in their script, I kind of go, well, I wonder if that was literally something to almost spark up the debate, because once that got put out there and it's from Affleck, now all of a sudden the Batman film that he's working on should have Deathstroke as the villain. So it's almost a... See what I did? Now you can't really change it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds weird to think of, but that's the only thing that I could come up with. I know, but you kind of go, huh? Like, it literally was out of the blue. It had no bearing on anything. Plus, it was Affleck. It wasn't Snyder. And that scene, he's on the Flying Fox, so there's no direct link for that and Justice League.
No, there isn't. Unless he showed up out of nowhere and just started kicking ass.
Right, which, sure, but whatever. So that's why I'm saying that's kind of weird. And so that was in August. So, well, in October, apparently Johns was making his own rewrites of the script without Affleck's approval. Now, this is October of 2016, also the same month that Rick leaves The Flash unexpectedly. Okay. I don't want to speculate too much into it, but if I'm hearing that Johns is also rewriting a script without his co-writer's approval, and another director is now leaving a film that he was excited about, and he was casting people left and right.
Yeah.
I would I don't know. I don't want to put any kind of major blame on people, but it does kind of start to look a certain way.
Listen, this is I really don't know what to think of this, because the thing is that I remember when the whole thing with BVS, the backlash of certain people not loving the movie and the reception that he received, and everybody started panicking. So everybody wanted Feige type on the DCU, and they brought in Geoff Johns just for that purpose,
right?
Which was fine. I was excited for that.
Hey, you and me both, man.
And the thing is that, listen, when I hear what you're saying, all I could think of is like, dude, you're not fucking LeBron. You cannot play every goddamn position. And he's a good comic book writer. He's by far one of the best. But when you write something on a comic book, when a director comes and grab information from those comic books, they get inspired from those comic books and translate that into film. You cannot do a comic book movie beat by beat from a fucking comic book because it just doesn't work.
Unless, of course, you are Zack Snyder and direct Watchmen. Sorry,
Well,
go on.
No. let's yeah, okay, let's go with that one. But the thing is that the two mediums are too different. You know, you process information differently. You see information differently. It's even when the closest thing that you got, and yeah, it's Zack Snyder films, and when you see those animated movies, and even those animated movies, they don't go beat by beat whatever it's in the comic book. They take the best of it. I mean, look at Jay Oliver. His fucking Dark Knight movies are fucking amazing. And the thing is that they don't go beat by beat, but they take the best of that storyline and puts it in the film. And I think that's what happened here. This guy said, "You know what? I'm the greatest at what I do. I'm drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. I'm gonna show you. This is how you write a fucking movie." No, you don't, my dude.
I know.
You're talking to an Academy Award winning director and writer.
I know.
And you cannot come to his level. So for you to go outside your position and think that you can do that, it's disrespectful.
Well, for him to make his own rewrites without
his own rewrite without being checking with somebody who's actually good at that, at writing movies. You know that like I said, he drank the Kool-Aid. He probably thought, okay, everybody wants me here. Let me go and overextend myself and do this stupid shit. And that's what he did. Because, you know, he could have checked with the man and say, listen, and I'm not saying that he was, he did it, because he could have done it without his knowledge, thinking that he was going to appreciate what he did. You know, probably he did it and think, okay, you know what, Ben is going to thank me later.
Ben will like this. Hey, I think he'll like this.
He's going to love this. Maybe that was his motive. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like, when you put in, as an artist, when you put in work and somebody comes and, like, kind of overdo or redo whatever the hell that you do, it just takes something out of you because it's something that you put your heart into it and you feel invaded. So if
no, absolutely.
And
that's kind of why it's funny to hear this and then actually look at some of the interviews where he talks about the Batman.
Yeah.
So in that same month, this is what he says when asked about the Batman. He says he actually calls it the film for the first time. He says, "I think it's going to be called the Batman. At least that's what we are going with now. I might change it. I think that's about it right now. That's all I got." So, well, okay, that's just it's a weird thing for him to say because. Obviously, they had a whole freaking story outlined.
But the thing is that, you see, he's giving the man his respect because that's what you do.
I know,
when you work in a team, he's saying, "Listen, we are calling it this for now. Yeah. We might change it."
And he's being very political about it.
Very, very political about it. He's not being an asshole about it. So, well, I'm calling it this because I'm the director. You know what I mean? Because he's co-writing the movie with this man. And I think, you know what, I could be probably talking out of my ass. I don't know what really happened in what was inside his mind, but it is a combination of you not playing your position and him drinking the Kool-Aid or the bong water, whatever, semantics.
whatever to make him think he was good, at doing all of this, and so. Now, that's in October, where we find out Affleck didn't know about these certain things. Go a few months later into December, Affleck, he disapproves of Johns' script and decides to bring on Terrio to do the rewrites of his original script. Terrio was brought in December, okay? Now, around that same time, he gives another interview, okay? This is his words, or the words that he's saying. He says, "I'm still working on the script. I'm not going to write and direct anything that I don't think is good enough to be made. I'm definitely going to make sure I have something that is special. There's not enough money in the world to make a mediocre version of Batman worth it." When I first read that, before knowing all this...
I remember hearing that.
Yeah. I went, okay, I understand what he's saying. He's just saying he's not going to, he's not going to make a bullshit Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I know what was going on, I almost, and this is my speculation, I almost feel like that was a jab at Johns. Him going, dude, no matter what you do on your end, I'm not going to make that film because that's a mediocre piece of shit. I don't know. It's weird because now that I know the backstory, and now to see these kind of almost political type interviews and quotes, I'm starting to almost marriage the two together. Going, oh, that's why he was saying that. Because remember, we were so caught off guard. We're like, well, is he not going to direct? Is he going to keep writing? What is he going to do? And it's now I know why he was like that.
That was a house that was broken from the beginning. Because I mean, if all these things were going behind the scenes, all those problems, they were definitely they were not gonna sustain whatever they were trying to build there. Because
no, absolutely.
This is no shot at Ben. This is no shot at Geoff. It's just that they weren't working in unison. They were not a unit. They got to the point where you're pulling rank. I'm pulling rank. I'm the director. I'm the whatever role. What did he have? What role did Geoff had? Chief creative officer. Whatever. So they probably were going at each other all the time, and this was not gonna, it's not. They couldn't build something from that. As much as they probably wanted, because I know Ben was excited for this role. I know he was. I know he wanted to make this movie. I know he wanted to make. He was very. I mean, you see, Jay Oliver said it on one of his tweets. Every time he saw Ben on the suit, he saw a grown man kid in a suit because he was excited to play the role.
And that was the other thing that even Jay mentioned. He was working with them on their script, both of them in London. Back in August, September time. So that's still there. That's why I'm saying, obviously something happened to where they were making another draft. He was not part of that draft because he was working with Wonder Woman's, I guess, reshoots or something.
Right.
So that's why it starts to make sense on why he wasn't involved with it, because there was once he was involved with another film, he's not going to know that much. And it's funny because he didn't even mention, as far as the whole Geoff Johns and Ben Affleck thing, it wasn't mentioned or anything about, or he didn't deny it. I mean, he didn't come out and talk about it, but he didn't deny it either. So it's just kind of. It's just funny to.
But this is I can't even hear that his egos clashing, because even let's say that let's say that Ben says fuck you and I'm gonna do my script, I'm gonna do my movie. The man is already been hired to direct the movie and write it. So you are a legend in your realm as a comic book writer. You're still gonna have credit in this movie. Is the movie successful?
You're still gonna get co-writing credit.
You're still gonna get co-writing credit, no matter fucking what. Now, if you see that they bring somebody with the caliber, drawing a blank, Fargo, PBS writer, Terrio, shit, I'm so fucking mad.
Terrio, yeah.
Listen. So you see somebody with the caliber of Terrio and Ben chewing on this fucking character and breaking their brains to bring something great, and you still gonna get credited for that, man. Just throw your little 2 cents here and there and be a consultant and get it done. Put it out there, because you're still gonna get credited. And even if you're the chief creative officer, you're still gonna get credited for that too.
I know, you're still you're running the whole show. Just let them do what they want to do.
You will be the fucking Feige, because people gonna be looking at you like, holy shit, this guy is really making it happen.
Absolutely.
But no, you let your fucking this little petty shit get on the way of something like this, and now that's why we're not getting either one of them.
I know, and so then we move on. I'm sorry, go on.
because of this bullshit. Sorry.
I know. It's just, it is. It's bullshit.
It's upsetting.
It's kind of, it's almost like high school bullshit. You know what I mean?
It
like,
is.
goddamn, dude.
That's
remove
why I
your
find
pride.
it so fucking petty.
I know. Just remove your pride, remove your ego.
One thing that I hate to hear, I'm, like I have my flaws, like every man does. But when
Absolutely.
I see men engaging on petty shit like this, he just like he eats at me because I'm like, you're such a, I want to say, like,
I know.
Such a fucking little girl. What the?
I know,
you're a fucking man. You're a grown fucking man. Act like it.
It sucks because it's almost like how Jerry Jones runs the Cowboys, right? He is the owner. He is a huge fan of the Cowboys. Okay, he loves that team. He's loved that team ever since.
Right.
But he's also the GM who makes a lot of the decisions as far as player personnel is concerned. So when he makes his dumbass sometimes decisions and gets players where you're like, why would you draft them? You don't really understand it, but it's because he thinks that that's what is best for the team.
Exactly.
Well, he doesn't have the...
Or die with a decision.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to worry about being fired. Like any other GM does, right? So people that are GMs that don't own the company, they are thinking in what's the best moment for the team now, right? They're trying to build that team up. And so with Jerry Jones, he gets to go, if it doesn't work out, cool, I still own him. Like, all right. So, that's why sometimes he hasn't really chosen players because the team needed it. He just chose them because he wanted a fucking player. And so that's kind of what was happening here. It's like Geoff Johns is the head of the department, and he also wants to have his hand in writing the Flash script, and now he wants to have his hand writing in the Batman script. He's writing the Shazam script. So it's like, okay, dude, like I get that you're excited about all that stuff, but why don't you, if there was already set in stone things, like why not just allow that to go? And it's, once ego, I guess, set in because he was named the head of the DC films, it just kind of, it steamrolled and just kind of snowballed into effect. And then in January of 2017, Warner Brothers demands a script in hand with filming allegedly set for the later part of the year in 2017.
Right.
So that was the beginning of January, and Affleck even made a quote saying, hey, look, that's the idea, but it's not a set thing, and there's no script. If it doesn't come together in a way I think is really great, I'm not going to do it. Well, what he was talking about...
And it didn't come together. That's why we got Matt Reeves. Now we know that.
Well, wait till I get there. So what he's saying by there's no script is absolutely true, because guess what? We didn't know this at this time, but Terrio was doing a rewrite from page 1. So that's because obviously he was brought into December. So that's why Affleck is basically quoted as saying there's no script. So a few days later...
So they trashed that really good script that they presented to Warner Brothers.
Correct. So, man, it makes sense. So then he talks to IGN a few days later. And just listen to what I say, because you're going to go, oh, okay, now that you know that Johns was, apparently making edits without his approval, and the fact that they now had brought Terrio in December, he tells IGN, it's the same thing as any other movie. When I'm excited about it, we're working on the scripts. When we get there, we're going to make it. I'm really excited. That's great stuff in it now. Or there's great stuff in it now. It just needs to be better and better. It's the same way I felt about Live by Night when I was prepping it. It's just that no one was asking me questions because no one gave a shit. Because there wasn't any click-throughs. But it took me a year plus to get this movie ready to launch. Hopefully it won't take me that long for Batman. But we're working. I think we're ahead of the curve, and we're excited. So
Terrio had something
already working. Yeah, he already had something working. However, this is, you can kind of tell that he's kind of going, I almost feel like he's getting sick of it. Like, like I'm tired of this shit because we had something good. Now all of a sudden the boss, who at this point in time is Geoff Johns.
Yeah.
Because, technically wasn't... Walter Amada came in at the beginning of January. Or, like, middle of January, I think. So, February, obviously... Or no, not February, but January 30th, Ben Affleck steps down from director. He's like, nah, don't want to do it. I don't... I don't really know. Oh, I'm sorry. No, January. No, this is still with Geoff Johns. Sorry about that.
Right.
Yeah. No, middle of January. So, yeah, January, at the end of it, he steps down. Obviously, whatever him and Johns were going through, it was enough to put Affleck like, nah, dude, I'm throwing my hands up. You don't like these scripts and that I'm working on. Terrio came in and did a rewrite. Fine. I think, and this is just my speculation, okay? If Johns was dealing with everything, the whole reason why Matt Reeves' negotiations fell through in February of 2017 is because he wanted full control of script and final cut. If I was a gambling man, I would assume that Johns was already trying to work on how to get Whedon brought in, because he's the one that brought him in. Him and Berg brought him in for the Justice League reshoots. So, okay, there had to be a reason why he stepped down. Well, in the summer of 2017, which is obviously when they were doing the Justice League reshoots, Affleck, from what my source says, was very upset with how they were handling the Justice League reshoots, how they retooled the entire movie, and he was actually worried that was going to be like continued in other Batman films. That's the whole reason why he didn't want to.
So he didn't want to invest time shooting a movie that is gonna get butchered at the end, just like Zack Snyder movie did.
Well, and also the way that Batman was portrayed in Justice League. You know what I mean? I mean, because it makes sense. I mean, he looked nowhere close to what he looked like in BVS or Suicide Squad for that matter.
It's like two different Batman.
It's like a George Clooney Batman compared to Christian Bale Batman.
Oh, that is, you couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, it's like one was serious.
They changed the actors. They changed everything. They changed everything about the character.
Yeah, it's just it was crazy for me to see that, and so obviously he was upset. I mean, he's upset at how that's going to be. So obviously he's not really okay with all this stuff. Now, from my understanding, he was told about the new kind of the new leadership being handled in December of 2017, and so he has one more film in his contract. Now, from what my source is telling me, the current plan for the DC films are expendable for the Batman actor. So if Ben likes what he sees, he'll come back as Batman and renegotiate his contract. But if not, then they'll just move ahead with a new actor.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know what to think, man. I want to see him come back. I don't know, because from my understanding is that Matt Reeves has always wanted to get a younger Batman. And I don't know if he sees that this movie was written with intention of getting a younger Batman. I don't think Ben is the man who's gonna jump in a situation where he's gonna feel like he was not considered for the role to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you shot this movie for a younger Batman, and I'm here. It's like showing up at a party that you weren't invited.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the best way I could put it.
I don't personally know what you mean, but yes, I know what you mean.
Well, you know, it happened to some friend of mine. It never happened to me.
Man, I'm sorry. Remember, my name's, one of my names is Mr. Popular, so.
I never crashed a party.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I never. My friends did a party behind my back and then I showed up. No, it never happened.
Nah, man, that couldn't happen to you, dude. No way.
No, it never happened to me. I'm just joking. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I really want to see him come back. I hope Matt Reeves is writing this movie with the intent to have him as the main character, as the returning actor, So, because that's who we want. I mean, it's one thing that what we want, and another thing is what the business calls for. So,
and I think that about wraps it up. Again, I'll be what?
This was a dark show.
What was it?
This was a very, very fucking downer. Old bad
No,
news.
not at all, man. No.
No.
It was a heartbreaking show.
It was a heartbreaking show. Yes. I hope he comes back, man. God, please make it happen. But like this relationship with Ben, it's like, when you're in a bad relationship with a girl, and like it's gonna
yeah, that crazy psychotic ex, yeah.
And then when you actually break up, your heart is still broken. Like, oh, why?
I know, it's like a drug, man.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But hopefully, the most important thing is that he gets better, because I know he's currently going through some things. And
absolutely, but
that's
recently he was I guess it was announced that he actually gets to go home every day to work out.
Yeah, that's a good thing that he's actually not a prisoner of that environment, because I know he needs it. The facility, I know he needs that, and I hope we're gonna continue to wish him well, and that he goes back on the wagon. And
and I almost want to go, what are you working out for, bro?
That's my sources tells me that he's working out for a role.
Wonder which role would inquire him to lift weights?
Work out? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a movie that starts with a B.
Ends with an at man.
Shut up.
That's I don't know. Hey,
I don't know.
My name Aaron RPK. I could come
for
up
nothing.
With that
that's right. You got that scooper cred, bud.
Hell yeah.
All right, so it's been a very informative show today.
Very heartfelt and emotional. Yeah, very heartfelt.
Yes, because I think I got a little bit too emotional invested in the things I was saying, but I do care about these characters in these movies, man. Deeply.
I love them.
Yes, we do.
Well, until next time, be safe.
Be safe, guys. Peace.